use the controller for this. It's much easier. Okay, just making sure we're all good to go. This is my first time commentating. Welcome back everyone to round 2 of OBF1. This is round 2 at Portugal for Tier 1. I just finished the Tier 2 race, and if it's Tier 2 is anything to go by, then this should be a very, very entertaining race. From what I've seen, it was a great race. First time out at Silverstone with, I believe it was Short. Marcus taking the lead. So it was, I believe it was Short Marcus taking out the win last time ahead of, I'll have to check properly, but what a race it was first time around. I have watched that, and if that race is anything to go by and Tier 2 is anything to go by, this one should be mega. We got a lot of drivers in here today, basically a full lobby up in here, and Tier 2 was mega quick, so these guys must be alien level, to be honest. I thought I would come into this and cruise, but at the moment, I did the first lap, and then after that the drivers started to put in some really quick laps, and I started to lose it. I was just dropping back at that point, unfortunately, but we'll be getting underway here soon. I'm not sure how long it will be, but I'm sure it won't be long. We're just waiting for a few more participants, I think, and then we'll get right underway as soon as possible. Short Marks had, I think it was a 16th to first drive in the first race, and it was amazing. I can pull up the results now. So after the first race, Short Marcus took it ahead of H Taylor. Then we had FTH KRC in third with Carlo P4. Town finished P5, XC P6, Mitch 7th, Chris 8th, Chuck 9th, and Paul Harrison in P10. Then sitting in the constructors, you got Mercedes leading ahead of Haas, ahead of McLaren, Alpha Tauri, Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, Alfa Romeo, Williams, and Alpine, and we'll see how that turns around today. It was a poor qualifying first time out from Short Marcus, and I believe there was a safety car which sprang him in it and really mixed up the field. So if stuff like that happens, we don't know who's going to win. There was no safety car, surprisingly, in Tier 2, but I'd love to see a safety car in Tier 1. Safety cars always switch up the race and make them that little bit more entertaining, and that's what we're going to be looking for here today. We shouldn't be far from getting this race underway, but we're running a little bit over time due to an issue in Tier 2, due to a glitch. It should be fine. But just sorting people out. There was someone in the wrong car, someone was in the Merc when they should be in the McLaren. It's all good now. Yep, that's all sorted out. I'll try to keep you guys updated on when we are getting underway, but it should be fine. Yeah, there's a bunch of incident reports already going in from Tier 1. The first lap was chaotic. I just hope in this race it's not quite as chaotic as it was last time. And here we go. We are about to get underway for round 2 of OBF1 Tier 1 at Portugal. This should be quite a fun race. Majority is readied up now, and it won't be long until we get into short qualifying for the race. I imagine most drivers will do a first lap on mediums and do a lap on softs, as that is usually what is done by majority of drivers. And well, that's just the smart strategy. You get a lap done on mediums, know that you've got the pace, you got something, just know that your equipment's working fine and that nothing's wrong with your setup or anything like that, and then you can properly get into those laps on softs and start saving those flyers. So I reckon those first laps will just be bankers, just to make sure that they're not going to be last and they don't invalidate every lap, and then from there we'll see them start to fly and we'll see some true pace come out. We're expecting low 17s to be the pole position time, or high 16s probably. Actually, looking at what happened in Tier 2, I imagine slower times will be around 18s to high 17s. I'm not quite sure just how quick these tier 1 guys are, but I do know there are some hella quick guys up in here. So we're not long now away from round 2, sorry, qualifying. Not far away from qualifying in round 2 of OBF1 tier 1, and we are now in the qualifying session. Who will be first out on track? Most of these guys will just be putting in their setups on. We can see the Mercedes crew there on the left, and we'll wait to see who will be the first out. No one's budging yet on the in the pit lane that we can see. No one quite on the move yet. Keep flicking through to see if anyone goes through, but of course at the moment they're just trying to put their setups on, get the right fuel on, and then they'll head out. You don't need to go instantly, and we do have the first driver out. We got Paul Harrison. Paul Harrison is the first driver that we see out on track. This is a long session, so they got heaps of time to set a good lap. He's going out on the medium tyres, so he's just going to set a banker. Then after him we've got, by the looks of things, we got iHarv, I believe it was. iHarv is the next person out on track. That's sorted. iHarv is the next person out on track, and then we got a lot of people coming out now. We got the Aston Martin of Chucks, and then we got a few other people. Got DRP. A lot of people now coming out on track. We'll watch as Paul Harrison comes around to start his first flying lap here in the Williams. I know he was quite quick first time around, so we would like to see another performance like that in the second race. But he's going to line up coming through the last corner now. He's got plenty of ERS as he saved, and here he goes for his first flyer in round 2, the first flyer of round 2, Portugal, of the OBF1 League for Tier 1. Activates the ERS nice and quickly. A lot of ERS using his down to turn 1, breaking he's going to be breaking at the 50-meter board. Quick turn and use all the exit curb he can. Beautiful turn 1, breaking at the side of that white line there, clipping the apex, holding it, using all the exit, coming back, and then just try not to cut that curb because it can be deadly. Uses all the exit there. Don't go too far over because you will see an invalidation down here. Breaking just after the 100-meter board, come in and clip the apex, straighten up the car, and straight back on the power, just like that. Around to the next corner, you're going to do a slight lift if needed. He does a slight downshift and a quick brake again, turns in the car and straight back on the power. Tricky corner there. If you use too much throttle, you can find yourself spinning. And then through here it's going to be a wide corner, and then bring it in tight. I would usually take it a little bit wider, but by the looks of things that was quite a good corner. Bring it around now, braking just after the white line, just before the white line. He does again here, and then brings it back, braking just before the curve, short brake, really tuck it in, and then use all your throttle and bring it out as you come to the end of the lap. And as he finishes his the first flying lap of the session so far. And what is it going to be on the medium tyres? A 17.7, great lap there on the medium tyres. Next Town isn't quite going to get his lap in, but we see a few Rebels coming around now on their out laps. And then we got the Mercedes of iHarv. Where is iHarv? There he is. He goes iHarv up into P1 with a 16.9 on a set of soft tyres, setting the first soft tyre lap as Chuck comes through and says a 17.7 on a set of softs. So Paul Harrison looking really good on those set of medium tyres, although he is last at the time being. He was set on a set of mediums, and there's going to be a lot of improvement. Then an 18 flat set by LB will be the next time set. There's still a few cars to come around and set time, but H. Taylor does a 16.7 and puts in the top time in the Haas for his first flying lap. Great lap from H. Taylor. He had a great round 1 last time around. From what I believe, he did well, but I think the safety car caught him off guard and dropped him back down the field, if I can remember correctly. No, never mind, I was wrong. He got P2. I was very wrong there. But championship leader Short Marcus is not here for this race, so we will be seeing him lose his lead after this round, unfortunately, due to his don't know how to say it, but due to him not quite being here. We will see him gone, unfortunately, for this round, but I'm sure he'll come back in the future. Seeing other times we said, and Mr. Series put in an 18.8 on a set of medium tyres. There'll be a lot of improvement later. Town would have made a mistake on that lap and does a 31.5. Not far off of LB. We see Mitch doing an 18 flat. And then we still got a few other people on flyers. One of them being the McLaren of Truck FYR man. Coming down, he'll activate DRS to set his first banker. There's all the deployment used, and he goes up to P10 on a set of softs with a 120.1. SpongeBob has invalidated his lap, but there goes Town up into P3. Good lap by Town with the 17.7, puts him in P3. The top two seem to be in a world of their own at the moment, both setting us within the 16s. But there goes Jesse setting a 16.8. He was the winner of he won tier 2, and he's came up to tier 1, and he's put in a good enough lap for P2. Great lap there for Jesse, showing that he should be a tier 1 driver. He shouldn't be stuck in tier 2 with other guys. There goes Jonathan to set a 17.7, put himself P4. Great lap on him, and on a set of mediums. That is a guy wanting pole position right there. That is a guy who is determined for pole position with that sort of lap. Wouldn't surprise me if he manages to put it on pole. Great lap on a set of medium tires. SpongeBob's going to go around for another lap. He isn't running low on fuel. He's fueled up for a fair bit of laps on the mediums, just getting used to the car, seeing what he can do. A lot of people coming around to finish their first few flyers. Chuck is still one of the ones who hasn't set a fly. Neither of the Ferraris has set a fly yet, but he comes around the last few corners now to finish his first flying lap. Looking at the delta, it actually could be a decent lap. I'm sure there's a lot of room for improvement within that lap, but it is an 18 flat, and it puts him P12 for the time being. Very close between a lot of drivers at the back here, but you can see a few more drivers going out for another lap already. There's still a few drivers at the back here who haven't quite set laps yet. A lot of these guys in the pits, but one of the drivers hasn't set a lap yet, who is on a fly right now, is IRS Hella High. He's on a set of soft tires, and he's going to be flying, looking for a good lap in this qualifying session, looking for a good position in the Williams. I don't think Williams had the round that they wanted to open off this season of OBF1. But I'm sure they'll come back here at Portugal's Harrison is looking quite spicy indeed. But across the line he'll come, and it'll be a 17.7. It'll put him just behind his teammate, barely by 0.009 of a second behind his Williams teammate. So they're definitely going to be looking to come back and get a decent amount of points in this race. We got IHA back on another flying lap. He's going to be looking to improve on that spot. He's on a set of softs now. He would have set that time on a set of softs as well. Someone else to keep an eye on. Paul Harrison set his time on a set of softs. I definitely want to keep an eye on him when he goes for his flyer on soft tires. But we're watching IHA now as he comes past the second sector, looking pretty good at the moment. But there you go, he's not happy with the lap. He's going to abandon it. He's going to save ERS, and he's going to fuel up for one more. Chuck has invalidated his, and the next person is the Williams of Paul Harrison. Now this is one I want to watch. He's on the set of soft tires now. Last lap he's 17.7 was set on the set of mediums, but look at that, XD Little Jim goes P1 with a 16.7. and it puts him P1 just ahead of HT. A good lap by the Ferrari, man. I was worried about the Ferrari, so neither of them had set a lap not that long ago, but he comes across the line and it shows that everything is okay over at the Ferrari garage and puts his Ferrari on provisional pole position. But we'll move back over to Paul Harrison, who's still on his final lap, no invalidations yet. He's 2/10 up in his lap currently through the second sector. He is flying at the moment. I'm sure he feels that he has a lot more time on his lap as it is on a set of softs, and he's only 2/10 up on a set of mediums, but he's still flying. I'm not sure the difference between the soft and the medium tyre, but I know it's not the biggest difference around this track. But through the last few corners, he'll come onto the straight. He will open up DRS as he comes around the final corner. Is the DRS activation zone coming up to the line. DRS is just before the line, so it won't benefit him too much, but he opens it up, and P5, he puts his Williams with a 17 flat. Good lap there from Paul Harrison, only 3/10 off of pole position. I'm sure he'll be looking for more improvement within that time, but of course we want to keep an eye on these guys up front. Paul Harrison has invalidated his lap, and Taylor is one on a flying lap, slightly up on the previous lap, and would be on for a provisional pole with this lap being that slightly bit up. That was through the second sector. He's flying at the moment. He's going to you can tell he's really looking for that provisional pole or that pole position. He is up on the top lap at the moment. He's looking for pole position at the moment. He is absolutely flying, coming through the third sector now. Not long left through these last few corners. He'll come, and it's looking to be a good lap. He's got it all sorted out. He's just got to keep it tidy, not invalidate. He runs it perfect through there. No invalidations on the straight. It's not easy to invalidate on the straight, but it's definitely possible. He'll come down, he'll activate DRS, and what's going to be across the line? He goes provisional pole position with a 16.5. Great lap from H. Taylor, and that puts him on provisional pole. That's going to be a lap to beat in this qualifying session, I can already tell. And Jonathan, though, he also set his lap on mediums, and he did a really good lap on mediums. He's going to be another one to watch. He's always sliding through there, really pushing the car, trying to push the car to the limits, push his Alpine. Whether the setup is slidey or it's just him, we don't know, but great. Seems to be doing quite well so far, as I think Town actually went up to P5 there with a 16.9, so he improved slightly to go behind his teammate of IHA. But through the final corner comes Jonathan onto the straight, activates the DRS, and across the line it's a 16.9, and he puts himself just ahead of the two Mercedes and into P4 for the time being. Mitch is another one on the fast lap, but not quite. He's slow. Neither of these Ferraris are on the final lap, and a lot of people are just sitting in garage now, waiting to suit up for their last and final lap of qualifying. We'll see a lot of people go out at the end, and they'll all go for one flying lap till the end. We watch on board now with the Ferrari of Chuck Brothers, who comes across the line. It's not looking to be an improvement, and he's not going to come into the pits though. He's going to stay out, and it will be an improvement. I look at things actually. 5/10 improvement puts himself P12 with a 17.4, and just behind Chuck Brothers. Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't in T1. If I was in this lobby, I'd be sitting around P18, mate. These guys are way too quick for me, but this should be a very, very entertaining race to watch. Not many people out on track on flyers, but one of them is Antuas By. He's 2/10 up in his previous lap. He's done the exact same lap as Hella High ahead of him, so he just needs to improve by 0.001 in order to get 15th place. But a few tenths could see him jump up into 13th, or if he finds a bit more, you can see him jump up into the top 10. We don't know where he lost time on his lap, but he'll come now through the final corner, open it up onto the straight, flat out through the final corner now. He's got a lot of spare ERS, but it won't be enough to do another lap. ERS does burn a lot around here. Activate DRS across the line. It's a 17.6, and he puts himself P13 for the time being. A lot of people sitting in the pits at the moment, but we can see the Ferrari and the Alfa Romeo out, and they're going for flying laps now, but he just doesn't quite have enough ERS to do a lap. I would have just abandoned, came in, going out for one last flying lap, but he does not seem to want to do so, and the Ferrari is looking to suit up for his last final lap as he's saving ERS, getting ready to go for his final run. Someone who's also saving ERS is Chucky. Up back, he was a Tier 2 driver. He struggled in his first race for OBF1 in Tier 2, but he's managed to get a drive in the top tier, and he's going to be looking to go higher up in this qualifying session. But we're still waiting on Martin, who hasn't quite set a lap yet, so that will be one to watch. Make sure he doesn't invalidate, because he invalidates, he's going to be stuck in P20, and that's going to be annoying when it comes race time, because he's going to have a lot of work to do. He's going to have his work cut out for him. But everyone getting ready to come out for the laps. Everyone's in pits, and we'll just about see everyone come out for a lap. No one is currently on a lap at the moment, but I think this might be qualifying over for Jesse, as he's got, you can see the fuel icon, no fuel, no ERS, nothing, not enough resources, we'll say, that can get him top spot. And if he comes in, it's gonna be close between whether he gets another qualifying lap or not. It'll be interesting to see how he goes, but a lot of people getting ready to go out for their final lap. Answers by, though, still trying to improve and get a high position in this race. He's sitting P13 at the moment, a few tenths off of P12, P11. Sitting in the field is so close, just those few tenths gain can gain you so many spots within this league, as it is just that close. From first down to from first to 12th is split by less than a second, so it's just amazing. You can see he's giving way now. Everyone coming out for their final laps now, as Taylor comes out of the pits finally. A lot of these guys on their out lap, one who is on their lap, and you can see the town just invalidates his lap. He'll slow down, save ERS, and try to go out for another one. Troy is out of the session. I think he's just retired, pulled up his car. He doesn't think he will improve, so that is his qualifying done. He's currently sitting P9. Whether he loses spots or not, we will have to find out later on. But Chuck is another one on a flying lap, coming through the second sector now. He's currently 2 tenths up in his lap, 2 tenths gain. We'll see him go up into P9, just ahead of Troy, who's retired from the session. But whether he could have lost more spots, more time through this last corner, for all we know. We don't know how much time he's lost out throughout this lap, unless we're properly on board with him and can tell ourselves. But through the final corner, he will come. Let's see if it's an improvement, and if it's a good enough improvement to chuck himself into the top 10. Across the line he comes, and he goes P7. Great lap from Chuck Brothers with the 17th lap, puts him P7, just ahead of Paul Harrison in the Williams. Town getting ready to go around for his final lap, but the other Williams, LB, was doing so well before, or actually, sorry, LB's in the Alpine. Get those two mixed up hella high. Was doing so well before, but he's kind of struggling now. He needs to find some improvement, but can't seem to find any within this qualifying session. But XD in P2, he's going to be looking for pole position, so run on board with him as he goes for his final lap in quality. We want to see a good lap here. We want to see a fight for pole position. He activates the RS. We know H. Taylor is quick. He's slightly down through the first sector, and it runs it a bit wide there. He's trying to find as much time as possible, but it's not looking like he can find what he wants to. He's still pushing throughout the lap, though. He's going to push to the finish. He wants to get pole position if he can, and I'm sure he'll fight it all the way till the end. Everyone outside, though, will get a free choice of tyre. Everyone inside the top 10 will have to start on the softs. So, and I think everybody within that top 10 has actually opted for the soft tyres. We can see, there you go, everybody in the top 10 has opted for the soft tyre. Their best lap was done on the soft tyres. A few people outside of it, SpongeBob being one of them, did his lap on there. But IHAB puts a lap of a 16.2 and goes pole position, provisional pole with the tyre being what a lap. Mitch goes into P4, but then XD improves, goes P3. How close is this field gonna be? But what a lap from IHAB. Puts him on provisional pole position for the time being. But there's still a lot of cars to finish laps here. We'll have to watch as they come around. Chucks is done. Towns is done. LB is done. but one who isn't and is going for their final lap is Jesse. As the session just comes to an end, so when you cross the line, you will be done. Actually, so Jesse is still one on a flyer. And TRP is done. Is FTH done or KRC done? He's low on fuel. He seems to be saving. I think he is done. Unfortunately, a lot of people are done, and it's looking like we might have our man. Pole position. I have. Great lap of the 16.2. What a lap. Wish I was on board to see that one. But IHAV does the 16.2 and puts his car onto pole position, puts his Mercedes on pole. Great lap from IHAV. Beautiful stuff from him to put his car on pole. We'll see Taylor P2 XD puts his car P3, Mitch P4, Jesse P5, Cox P6, LB managed to go up to P7, SpongeBob managed to go up to P8, Town down to P9, and then we see Chuck Brothers finish off the top 10. But just look how close a lot of these guys are. It's just from 7th to 11th, split by just about a 10th. Troy after DNFing will start P12.
On my fast lap on the racing line, ridiculous man. Emoji pouting face.
Oh, unlucky. Unlucky doing that bit. Man, I thought you would have been going for pole position, cause your lap on mediums was mega, man. It was a great lap from Jonathan Cox on the medium tyre, but shit happens. People get in your way. There's nothing you can do but move on. Unlucky, dude. You'll just have to focus on in the race and try to get as many positions as you can in the race. Keep it easy. T1, we don't need any shenanigans. T1, we want everyone to keep it easy. T1, we saw in Tier 2 what happens when you don't keep it easy. Tier 1, and it was very, very messy. Jesse, the only person out still on the lap, but it is invalidated, so we do have our official grid, and it is as you see here on screen. I have on pole position from Taylor P2 and Jesse P3. It should be a very entertaining race to come. Everyone within the top 10 will be starting on the soft tyre. I imagine everyone did their best lap on the soft tyre, so everyone in the top 10 will be on the soft tyre. Everyone outside the top 10 will have a free choice, and most, I imagine, will go for the medium tyre in this race. But we got the same glitches last time. I think we should just play it out though. I don't think there should be a red flag. They may do it, but from what I saw last time, it does just fix itself. It's just because Jesse hasn't actually crossed the line yet, properly finished his lap. I think once he comes into the pits, it should be fine though. It'll tick over into the race. I'm not sure. We'll have to see, but we should be fine. It fixed itself last time. I imagine it will fix itself again. I don't think you need a restart, but I don't know. We'll have to see. The team is still putting him in the pits, and there you go. Yeah, you're all good. We're just waiting. We just had to wait for Jesse to come into the pits, and that right there is qualifying over. I took pole position off of H. Taylor, and then Jesse in P3. What a qualifying session that was. Very entertaining qualifying. I just can't wait to see what happens in this race. And there is the confirmation there. What a lap from I have 3/10 ahead of H. Taylor behind, who was just barely got Jesse behind him, and then the Ferrari of XD P4 and Mitch P5. Look how close those guys are. Just .004. Troy did his best lap on a set of medium tyres. Imagine what he could have done on a set of softs. So I imagine he'll want to start the race on mediums as we're about to get into the race. Anyway, Mr. Series was P14. I'm sure he'll like to bring his car back up into the top 10, but with nothing further to do, we'll get into the race. Portugal, round 2 of OBF1 Tier 1. This is the quick boys, the big boys. You don't want to mess with these guys. They are alien fast. As we wait for everyone to make sure this, obviously the setups will be on for qualifying, but everyone's going to be picking their strategy, getting everything right, and then we'll see what happens in the race. Top 10 will be forced to start on the soft tyre. They cannot change tyres. They have to start on the tyre that they qualified on. Everyone outside the top 10 though has a free choice, so we could see the soft, medium or the hard tyre. I imagine the strategy will be soft to mediums though. That was my strategy. As we see 5 red lights, And we wait, and away we go here for round 2. It's a great start from iHub away from H. Taylor, and he tries to cut him off, but H. Taylor holds it in. On the inside he goes, he's going to hold it through the inside. Oh, and there's contact, and he's around. H. Taylor is around. Unfortunate, iHub just didn't give him quite enough space there, and there was a touch, but iHub leads from XD, and then Jonathan. What a start from Jonathan. Jonathan's gone from P6 up to P3. What a start this has been, but chaos for the start, and our champion, well, what would have been our championship leader without short markers here, H. Taylor, is down to P17 after contact, and I imagine he would have damage after that. As you see, a 5-second penalty going to Martin for ignoring a yellow flag, but Harv has got XD outside a 1-second gap now with that issue, but XD is going to close him, and Jonathan struggling to hold on to XD, within XD's DRS here. Jesse though was all over the back of Jonathan, he was going to try and get a move done right here. I imagine DRS won't be activated until lap 3. There's plenty of laps for him to sit behind, activate ERS and get this done. But another 3-second there goes to Martin as he cuts the corner. But what a start this has been. Look at this guy from his first ever race in Tier 2, and he's up to P14 off the start. Great start there from Truck season, P14, but of course P2 in the championship at the moment. H. Taylor is all over the back of him, and I'm sure it'll be quite a nice clean pass. He activates ERS down into the first corner. Quite a simple pass on the inside. And there, but a slight contact again, but everything seems to be okay. The only person who would have gotten damage from that would have been Chuck. But what a start that was. That was very entertaining indeed, like I thought. But unfortunate for H. Taylor, just hit the side of iHarv, and he was around just like that. Nothing that could have been done there, but of course, anything could happen in this race. We could see safety cars, the whole lot. H. Taylor wouldn't have gotten damage, otherwise he would have pit. But a lot of these guys looking quite good. I want to just get the tyres up, as we can see on the left there. A lot of people on the soft tyre up the front, but Troy opted for the medium tyres. Paul Harrison opting for the hards, so I imagine he'll be doing hards to softs, but I really thought it would have been a soft to medium or a medium to soft strategy, one of the two, but not only a small handful of people opting for a different strategy. But you can see throughout the field all the different strategies people could be doing, but a majority will be doing a one-stop from softs to mediums, or from mediums to softs. Now DRS will be activated coming onto lap 3 now. I have still ahead of XD, but Jonathan now has DRS and will be all over the back of XD here. He's going to be looking to get himself up into P2 after starting P6. Has been an amazing start for Jonathan, and I'm sure he is very happy. Although he missed out on those few tenths gain in qualifying, he's had an amazing start and put himself into P3 for this race. He's closing up massively onto the back of XD now with DRS, but you can see this DRS train starting to form, and Troy is going to be looking amazing on the medium tyres. He's sticking in the DRS train. When he goes onto those softs, he's going to absolutely fly, but of course we have to worry about cars behind him trying to get past onto the main straight. I don't think we'll see a pass. Everyone's sitting quite even on ERS. It's not an easy place to save ERS. I noticed that in the race. You got to use it wisely, because if you don't, it will go. And who's that? Truck is facing backwards as he's off in the grass. He's had an incident, and he is backwards, unfortunately. After such a good start, he'll see himself most likely back down to P20, or not quite down to P20, but down to P18 in this race. Still another full pit stop to go. Unlucky for him, but DRS is activated for Jonathan. He's going to come down the straight now. He's going to gain on him, but not enough to get a move done into T1. No moves happening down the field. But yeah, it stays pretty clean. Another guy on the medium tyres. Okay, he's on the inside here. Oh, he gets his car on the inside on the set of medium tyres. Look at this man go. Look at the side by side coming up the hill. A little bit of contact. Oh, and there's too much contact there. Not enough room given, and he's around, and he's into the wall. And that is Chuck into the wall. And I'm surprised there's no damage from that hit. But Chuck is around, and that is unfortunate. Not what you want to see. It's been a great start from C. Reeves, though, to find himself up into P12 up the start in this race. But we can see iHarv, no, iHarv from the lead has made a mistake. iHarv down to P8. Who would have seen that coming out? IHub down to P8. He's made a mistake, and now he's now dropped down 8 positions. Unfortunate for IHub, not the start he would have wanted in this race, but it happens. I'm sure all the drivers will be focusing up now though, making sure they can just getting in the groove of the race. No penalties are going to be wanted, but one person already with the penalty is Jesse. It's not going to be what he wants in this race, of course. But coming down the straight now, Jonathan has DRS on XD. He's sitting in P2. Jonathan can win from P6. That's got to be a drive of the day. Down the inside he goes. He launches down the inside. It's always a bit wide though, but Jonathan up into P1 for the time being, but he's going to hold around the outside. Coming up into turn 3 now, they're still side by side. He's on the inside, there's enough room given, but who's going to have DRS? Neither of them have DRS. We might see a charge here from Jesse. We might see 3 wide and D. No, we won't. But Jonathan on the inside now, but the outside line's quite strong around here, and he holds onto it for P. It gets into P1 position as Jesse has a little look there for P2, but it's not going to happen. He's used all his DRS. You can see these guys are running quite low on ERS now, as they've had to use a lot of it to try and get past one another there. But Jonathan now from P6 up into P1. What a start it has been from Jonathan, but XC is going to be all over the back of him here. He's not going to want to give up. He's going to want to get this position back without a doubt. These guys are going at it absolutely. For a guy who plays GT Sport, you're not used to seeing racing this close, this entertaining. It's so much fun to watch and commentate on this sort of stuff. But the Ferrari all over the back of the Alpine driver, and a much better exit out of there. He's going to activate a little bit of ERS. Jonathan chooses not to do so by the looks of things. He's going to have DRS though. He's within range. I'm sure he'll get a move done as he activates DRS. Down into T1 they'll go. He goes defense Jonathan, but there's no move looked by XD as he sits behind and will wait. But we can see behind Paul Harrison on his hard tyres drops down another position to KRC. As there's more. Oh, Jesse's made some sort of mistakes, and Jesse. Oh, I half lose to the back end. They're struggling, and Jesse down to P7. Unfortunate for these two drivers, but that sees Troy on the medium tyres up into P4. He's retired, and he's found himself up into P4 from P12. A lot of these guys have just had an amazing race around here. Carnage at Portimao. But it's helped out a lot of these guys. Town, P9 to P3. XD, P4 to P2. Jonathan, P6 to P1. Troy, P12 to P4. It's just been carnage and absolute entertainment all the way through. But XD still sitting on the back of Jonathan. He's sitting well within a second. No one's dropping out. This DRS train goes all the way down to P5, and then there's a little short gap and then there's another DR train from P6 to P8 with those guys who have struggled. But there's not much ERS for these guys to play with. Get a move. He's just gonna have to sit behind and try to do something here. But of course, we've just seen Martin DNF. Just get disqualified, I believe, or retire from the race, and he's down to P20, and he will finish last place in this race. Or there goes Jesse. Jesse's down the positions. Something's happened to Jesse, and Jesse is gone. I can't see it, but Jesse is gone. That is race over for Jesse, and unfortunate. There's no plans on a safety car or anything like that for the time being, unfortunately, but race over for Jesse. I think he's chosen to come to the pits and retire there, but unfortunate. It was looking really good for him, and he's now dropped down to P15, but he'll drop further as more cars go on past him. Jonathan though still leading ahead of XD and Town, all sitting within this DRS train. But look at Troy, he's all over the back of Town here on his set of mediums. I can't get over Troy here. Troy's got to be going for the win here. He's going to be wanting it to sit this close on a set of medium tyres. Who else would be looking better? As Jesse leaves the session, there is Jesse confirmed and gone out of this race. But of course, I want to keep an eye on this top battle. XD 6/10 away from the top spot at the moment, so he's not quite going to be able to close in by the time they get to T1. As there's a lap car there going to get in the way. Don't want that to be a distraction to anyone. He gets over. He doesn't want to distract anyone, but into T1, I'm sure XD will just go straight through him, as they are ghosted. I figured out from my race. Troy can't get anything done. Still sits P4 on the back of Town, but he's right on the back of him. When I say right on the back, I mean right in the back, but there's now a lap car in between all of them, which will be frustrating the whole lot of them in this race. And these guys will really be looking for some sort of position here. I drink for 1 second. There's a mistake from Jonathan. Mistake from Jonathan. Sees XD go for him here. On the, it goes for the outside, but it doesn't quite work. Jonathan cannot afford those little mistakes. Those little mistakes can be afforded in those smaller leagues, but up in here when it's tier 1 of this league, you cannot afford those small mistakes. Those small mistakes, one of those, you're gone. It's as simple as that. One small mistake like that and you could be dropping down a fair few positions. You saw there just a little snap of overstick, getting on the power too early, and Jonathan nearly lost the lead of this race. But of course, XD still looking to get the position on Jonathan. He's not going to give up here. He's 3/10 away. Oh, and Jonathan's came from an early pit. Why Jonathan came in? Jonathan has just come in for an early pit. What is this? Is he two-stopping? Maybe he's trying to two-stop this race. I do not know. But Jonathan is in. Has he got a front wing or anything like that? No. He's just in for a hard set of tyres. He's going for. These guys are going to hards. I was doing the soft to medium strategy, and these guys are going to hards. That is very surprising. For myself, but that now means that XD leads, and he'll have to cover off Jonathan if he wants to stay within DRS range when he comes back out. I imagine a lot of these guys will come in to do so. They might see a few cars behind, but Troy's going to be one that has to stay out, unfortunately, but he will be going on to either a hard set of tyres, a fresher set of hard tyres, or what I believe will be the soft tyres. If he can get on to the soft tyres against a worn set of hards, he will breeze past these guys and go for the win. We could be seeing a lot happen here as Paul Harrison is up into P5. He's doing well. This has been a little mistake there from KRC, and he's dropped down to P7. These guys are all battling behind, but Harrison, another person to watch out for. On hards, he's going to be going to softs. He's sitting in P5, looking really good, but he's holding up this entire pack behind him, and I'm sure all these guys are going to be getting really frustrated having to deal with Harris right on, holding them all up. But Jonathan sitting P11 on his hards, he's just going to be undercutting. No one else is trying to come in. The tyres are only 9 laps old. I imagine they'll push these to lap 15, lap 16, because that's what, at least that was my plan. My plan was 15, 18 or something like that. It was 14, 19, you know. I imagine we'll see them come in though around, because obviously when I did it, we had the reset lobby and all that stuff, so there was less tyre wear because that extra lap. So I imagine I'll see these guys start to come in around lap 12, but the undercut from Jonathan could be huge. Obviously he had the lead, but it might be enough just to pull him out of pull XD out of his DRS range. But of course the fresher tyres then can be quite a worry to him, as we see Troy look around the outside of town. No way he's going to make that work. He doesn't. He's lost in, but he's going to try the outside again. Not quite. Troy though is on an absolute charge here in the AlphaTauri all over the back of town. He's used a lot of his ERS though, so town has a lot to defend with, so it's going to be difficult on him to get this position through the. Here they come now through the last one onto the straight. They'll come. Town goes for a wider option. Troy cuts it in tighter, activates ERS. He might be able to get a move here. They'll both have DRS, but slipstream will be much more in Troy's favour. On the back of him he goes to the inside. Troy goes on the set of medium tyres. Troy is absolutely flying against this Mercedes. But we can see Town on the outside. He lets off. He lets Town back through. He's not going to try to contend because he knows if he does, oh, it's a little snap from Town. Maybe he should have contended, but he knows if they contend too much. If they fight too much, they're going to see XD start to pull away. But LB now on the back of SpongeBob. He's going to be looking to get past SpongeBob. He doesn't quite work. The AlphaTauri boys though looking really good, sitting P5 and P3. Troy P3, SpongeBob P5. I don't think these guys had the ideal race one first time out with, I don't think, only one of them scoring points, and that was actually Carlo, who isn't even racing tonight. So to see I'm sure to see these guys up in P3 and P5, he'll be very happy to see that. At the moment, a lot of these guys who are within these teams will be happy to see their guys doing so well. But I think the most disappointing team so far has been Haas, with Tage Taylor having the unfortunate lap 1 incident, but Mr. Reeves has managed to go up from, I think it was P14, I said it was, to P10. So he's doing well on the soft tyres. But as we come around to the end of the stint, I imagine we're going to see a lot of these drivers come in. The tyres are going to start to go off, and they're not going to want to risk a punch out. I managed to pull mine to lap 15 with a lot of slides, so I don't know quite how long these guys are going to go for. These guys are good at what they do. They can save tyres. There's Troy again, all over the back of him. But I'll Troy here, I'll just sit behind, save ERS, because right now their XD goes out of DRS range. Troy should have made the overtake while he could, and he could have stuck within the DRS range, but now XD has pulled out of DRS range of other guys, and that's going to put Town at risk from Troy. Troy's going to be all over the back of him trying to get past here, and I don't doubt that Troy will do so. There's a yellow flag, and there's another incident at the back for iHalf. He's just not having the race he wanted. He qualified on pole position by 3/10. He clearly had the 1 lap pace, but didn't quite have the pace in the race to keep it up. He's making mistakes. He's not quite keeping the consistency that he wants, but not many drivers having penalties. That's what we like to see. I'm sure there's a fair few warnings throughout the field, though, as Troy seems to have made a little mistake, I believe, and LB is all over the back of him. But of course, lining up through the last corner now, he's going to have DRS. He's going to activate a little bit of ERS. He's going to have everything he needs to get past, but of course now Town's closing into XD, so they might get back within DRS range here. It might not be worth Troy going past, but he uses the remainder of his ERS, and I'm sure LB knows. Look at LB's ERS. He's saved that an absolute treat. He's going to be looking to size up a beautiful move here, because he would know by the red light on the back of Troy's car that he is running out of ERS, and there's nothing he can do about it. And LB is going to wait for the perfect moment to just activate his ERS and go for it. He's got so much so he can use his advantage. XD is going super slow now, and XD has dropped back, and Town is now back within DRS range. But you can see, look at just how low some of these guys are sitting on ERS compared to LB. Well, that's like, you just got to sit and chill on your ERS if you're behind in DRS, because in XD, it's understandable these low in ERS, but a lot of these guys could just sit behind, lift off as you close up to the back of him in DRS, and just chill behind him. There's no need to use all this ERS, but of course, we're on lap 13 now. These tyres are getting old. We will start to see some people make the stops. There's been 4 retirements in this race. There's been more retirements in this race than there was in the first race, and we had a wet finish to the first race. It was chaotic, but in comes XD, in comes Town, in comes and onto the back of XD goes Town, but in comes LB. A lot of these guys in, and you know who we're going to keep an eye on here. Jonathan Cox. He went for the undercut. He risked it. It wasn't the right move, though. He's going to come through the last 3 corners, so he's had clean air this entire time, so it's worked well for him. He's going to activate a lot of ERS to make sure he gets past here, but it doesn't look to have worked. It doesn't look like it has worked for him. They not only will they come out ahead, it's going to be close. It's going to be close. Jonathan Cox out of the pits, and he comes out ahead. Great strategizing from Jonathan Cox, but what I say, soft to medium strategy. XD is going for the mediums, and he's going to be all over the back of Jonathan Cox here, but Jonathan Cox in the net lead. Troy staying out in his mediums. He'll be staying out quite a while longer. I imagine SpongeBob will be making the pit this lap, as he's made some sort of mistake to drop 11 seconds back from his teammate. And then you got KRC also in the mediums. Harris, who started on the hards, and then Chris Mutt, who has started on the mediums. But of course we want to keep the eye on these net leaders. Jonathan has done well the undercut. I didn't think it was gonna work out for him, but it has worked out, and it's worked out an absolute treat. Of course, but I think it was a bit too early for XD to come in for those medium tyres. If he can only last 13 laps on the softs, he's going to last around 18, 19 on the mediums, and it's going to be close by the end of the race. He's going to be within puncture territory within that last lap, and it's a big risk to have gone for the medium tyres, but it could be a risk that pays off. LB, another one who went for the medium tyres. He reckons it can work. Town, he's playing it safe. He's gone hards. Jonathan, of course, he pit way too early to go for mediums. He's playing it safe. SpongeBob, of course, is in. He's onto a set of medium tyres now, and he's out just fine. Now everybody has made their pit stops. Mr. C. Reeses came in for a set of softs this early, so he must be two-stopping this race if he's came in this early, as Jonathan's made some sort of mistake. And actually no, he hasn't. I forgot this far down. It's actually XD challenging Jonathan into T1. Jonathan on the outside line around here is really good. He's going to hold around the outside and he gets the run, and that is XD up into the lead, but of course Jonathan can just sit behind on his hard tires. These hard tires are slowly, lap after lap after lap, are going to get better than those medium tires. So he just stays within DRS range, holds onto him, he can make stuff work here. But of course those fresh medium tires due to those 5-lap old hards is a big difference, and I can tell you now, those hard tires are going to be struggling against the mediums. You can see he's already starting to pull a gap on Cox, but of course coming up to another pack and they close these guys, then it's really going to hurt XD. He's going to lose all that pace he gained, and then Jonathan can close right back up, and it's going to bring him right back into it by the end of this race. I'm still worried those mediums aren't going to make it. We're watching these other medium tire runners, as these are the guys who we're going to go off. The likes of Troy especially, he's driven really well in the mediums, but has he driven the mediums too hard to the point of where he's going to have to go into a set of hards? Because he has to go into a set of hards, that's going to make his life an absolute struggle. Another one, KRC, he's chilled behind the pack, taking it easy. Harrison, he's opted for hard, so we know he's going to be going to softs. But with these medium tire runners, these 3 other medium tire runners who are still out since the start of the race, and we want to keep an eye on. Another person who I want to mention, H. Taylor. Obviously, he's going to have another pit stop in his strategy, but he's managed to make his way up into P9 in this race. Is Troy? No. Troy's cut a corner massively, and that's 5 seconds for Troy, and that could just about ruin his race. The time penalty can really screw you over here, but of course it's quite easily to penalise yourself around this track, and Troy's really pushing. He knows he's got to struggle to stay ahead of these guys. He knows he's going to struggle to stay ahead of those guys when he comes around, but he's got to keep pushing if he wants to try and come out within that DRS. These guys are all going to be undercutting him behind as XD pulled out of DRS, pulled Jonathan out of his DRS range. And here comes LB to the inside, goes to LB into T1, under braking, nice easy move, and the Alpine drivers switch positions. Heavy fighting from the Alpine drivers, but they're going to want to work together here. They could get some good points. They just take it easy. They're sitting in net. They're both sitting on the net podium positions, so they just take it easy. They can very much be looking to be in a very good position in this race, but of course those medium tire runs are going to be much quicker than 7-lap older hards at the moment. So it's just a matter of Jonathan playing the patient game. He's going to be patient, and he's got to wait till the end of this race, because when the end of the race comes, those medium tires are going to be gone. I highly doubt they're going to make it to the end. I want to say they will, but 20 laps on mediums is a lot to ask from him. If you can make 13 on the softs, it's a lot to ask. But of course, look at these guys up front. They're still going 16 laps. It's not going to be impossible. If you save your tires enough, nurture them, it's not going to be impossible for these guys. But it would just be a matter of taking it easy. But you can see there, because LB has gotten past these 2 Alpine drivers, I don't think they strategically did it, because it looked like it was Jonathan was trying to defend, but because they have switched positions, LB will now close up onto the back of XD and can still challenge him, try to hold him up for Nathan, try to keep Nathan within there so that when his tires switch on, Nathan go right past. Look at LB's ERS. I'm going to say it over and over and over again. He is chilling on that ERS, and look at him. He's now being held up by the Alfa Romeo. So these little cars that he's got to get past that can actually fight him is going to be annoying for him. As you can see there, the outside line through there, it's amazing. And he's obviously, with the fresher tyres, going to be able to hold it through. He's going to make his way back up into P for the time being, but it's those cars that he's got to get through that are going to be annoying for him. LB will be hoping that DPR pits now. He's going to be hoping all these drivers start to come into the pits, because they start to come into the pits, it's going to open him up, and he's going to be able to just charge towards XD as it helps him out a massive amount in the end of it. Because Troy's still cruising though. He's pulling away from KRC, so he's obviously doing something right. He's gone on to lap 19, so he's done 18 laps so far. He's on to lap 19. 20 laps in the mediums doesn't seem impossible. Like I said, these drivers are at a different level to what I am. They are quick, they can save their tyres, so the top to medium strategy isn't impossible. So Jonathan could have gotten the strategy wrong here by pitting early, pitting onto a set of But you can see there is LB past Chris, but he's on the back of XD now. XD running low on ERS. He's been using it all, trying to get past the drivers. The next one, Paul Harrison in the Williams on his hards. He's going to be going to the set of softs. He'll be one to look through for charging through the field on his softs. So we see Mr. C Reeves, he's back in the pits, and the Haas and these Haas drivers, not the race they thought they would be having. Really, I'm sure they expected H Taylor to be the one up here, contending for the lead. I'm sure you expected I have to be up here contending for the lead, but look at all those DNFs. These guys have been struggling in this race. They've been pushing, and there's been 6 DNFs. I think there was only 2 in our race with my disqualification and one other DNF. But I haven't seen the weather forecast, so for all we know, we could see rain at the end of this race too. Doesn't look like it. You look at it, it's nice and sunny. It's looking quite good for them. Doesn't look like there's going to be any race. These guys are looking just fine, A-OK, as XD is now in the back of Paul Harrison, and I imagine being quite a simple overtake. But you can see that Troy is staying out to lap 20, so obviously 20 laps on these tyres is possible. But you can see here XD on the back of Paul Harrison. Paul Harrison having to save ERS. He hasn't got enough, and XD will find his way past nice and easily and up into P3. But of course, still the net lead. LB though still all over the back of him. He's going to be trying to find his way up into P2. He's going to want to stay on the back of him here, so he'll get the gain DRS. He should stay within XD's DRS. He needs that DRS. If he doesn't, there you go. You can see he's right on the back of XD here. He's got way more pace. He's got the DRS. He's got the pace. It's just a matter of holding onto that pace and keeping himself honest, as we saw the other Alpine of Jonathan get past the Alfa Romeo of Chris, and they are now both up into 4th and 6th in this race, but what will be P2 and P3. So it's been a great race so far for the Alpine pair. But of course, I'm sure we'll be seeing the likes of Troy come in 20 laps. He's going to be onto a set of softs now. This is the moment I've been waiting for. Troy on softs. I've been wanting to see this. I want to see where these guys will come out. These guys have been pushing. They've had to get past cars though, so it's going to be close. Troy, he's into his pit box, onto a set of softs. Quick stop. Oh, but he's serving the penalty. That's going to hurt Troy a lot. Serving the penalty now. Oh. But if there's a safety car, Troy is in perfect condition. But you can see, serving the penalty, he just comes out. And it's unfortunate for Troy. He's really going to drop down. That penalty could have just ruined his race. Of course, you still got Jonathan, who's got a penalty. LB, who's got a penalty. Taylor, who's got a penalty. So although he's lost time now, he's going to gain it back later. And you still got Taylor yet to pit. Chris yet to pit. Paul yet to pit. Of course, Jonathan's going to be holding out to the end, but you still got a lot of drivers yet to pit. I'm sure Chris will be in after this lap, so you can see the medium tyres can definitely make the distance. It's been proven that they can make the distance. So look, Jonathan's going to be kicking himself here after just quite obviously making the wrong decision to go onto the hard tyres instead of the mediums in this race. So it's unfortunate for him, of course, but what can you do? He made a bold strategy call. Thought he could pull them out of DRS, but unfortunately it's the wrong call, and he's lost time because of it. But I'm sure he'll just look to push forward throughout the rest of his races. He's still big gaps. The next car behind him in net positions, which is Town. So he's still sitting quite easily in those net podium positions. But XD loses position to LB, and LB is past and into the lead of this Grand Prix. But XD is going to come back at him here on the inside. There's contact and he's around. Oh, he's had a little half spin there. XD's had a little moment there. No damage. A lot of these drivers have been having heavy contact. No damage, which is very surprising to have seen. But damage must be on because we saw pitters after lap 1 due to the damage. So we can't go ahead and say that there's no damage. It's not visibly seen, but damage is definitely there. But that's going to get LB 2-second gap, and I'm sure that will be looked at after the race, and people I'm sure he will possibly be penalised for that. But of course he's still got a penalty to his name. The penalty 3 seconds. I'll let you go. 3 seconds for LB, 3 seconds for Jonathan, 3 seconds for Taylor, 3 seconds for SpongeBob, 6 for iHarv, and 6 for Bai. So Antonis Bai, but these guys are obviously going to be struggling on track limits. Like, I know a lot of them track limits around here are quite difficult. You're going to be on the edge, trying to not to exceed limits too much, not to push too hard, because if you push that little bit too hard, you're over. But then if you don't push enough, then you've also screwed yourself that way. But Paul Harris is in, and a driver who we've got to keep an eye on here is Troy. He's going to be gaining on those fresh soft tyres, trying to get past these cars as quickly as possible. Town is net P4 position, so he's going to be pushing as hard as possible to get past this guy. As you can see, the field start to filter out with their drivers. Troy on the back of Town here. Around the outside he'll go on his fresh soft tyres. Nice and easy does it. Around the outside with the traction he gets the move done nice and easy. But of course he's running low on ERS. He's having to use a lot of ERS to get past these guys. He's now got 2 more drivers. Without serving that 5 second, he could have easily gotten past these guys. But of course now not having the 5 second, it puts him at an advantage, especially if there's a safety car against Jonathan and LB, who both have penalties. But you can see the first light filter out as people make their first pit stops. With LB in P1, XD P2. Jonathan takes up P3. Chris is still yet to pit, but he's currently sitting P4. Same with Taylor, who's sitting P5. So Troy is sitting at P4, and he doesn't have far to Jonathan, as you can see. So although he's had to serve that, he could still very much be in the run for the win here. He's got the pace, it's just a matter of using it. Both the medium tyre and the soft tyre are going to be gone by the end of the stint. Soft tyre though might just have that little bit extra life in it than what the other tyres do. But you can see he struggles as he's got DRS, but he's got no ERS. He's got to go for a big move if he wants to get past, but he's got to use the use of these fresh soft tyres whilst he can, because as they start to wear out, they're going to even out between the medium tyres and the hard tyres. The advantage isn't going to be so great between the two, so it's just a matter of evening it out, balancing it out, and then taking full advantage of these tyres once you do. Just wait for the perfect moment and then go for it. 'Cause if you go for it too early, you could cause yourself damage. You go for it too late, you could lose yourself time. There's a lot of factors coming into overtaking, but the whole point of it, when you're especially when you're on the fresher, softer compound of tire, is getting the overtake done quick. Get it done quick, get it done fast, get it done cleanly, no damage. And if you can do that, you're going to be chilling in no time. Look at that. We switch to gap 2 leader. He's only 5 seconds off of LB on a fresh set of softs. I still reckon he has this. 5 seconds off. Imagine he didn't take that. He would be right on the back of LB at the moment. So he's absolutely flying as we see H. Taylor come in for his next stop. But Troy, I've got him for the win here. From P12 to the win has got to be a wonderful drive. No safety car, no nothing to help him out. Just pure driving on the medium tyres, skip past, pure skill. But of course, don't want to curse him here. He's still got a long way to go in this race, and he's got to make these moves quick. He's on the fresh soft tyres, but if he doesn't make them quick, he could find himself dropping back. He's looking to get both the Alpines off the podium. He's looking to drop them back, and he's looking to spoil the double podium for Alpine. Of course, 15 lap old hards against 3 lap old mediums. Who's going to win? Let's be honest here. It's quite obvious. But when you look at ERS, Jonathan does have that little bit of an advantage. But if Troy's right on the back of him with no DRS for Jonathan, he should sail right past Valtim. I wouldn't use any ERS when I catch up, because if he chooses to use ERS once he catches up, he could find himself dropping back way too much. He could find himself dropping back way too much later on in the race, because he doesn't have that ERS advantage. So he doesn't use the ERS, he's saving it. He needs to save it. He should sail past quite easily with DRS. If he doesn't, there's another DRS zone to do so. Although he's got to make the moves quick, he's got to make them cleanly. These next 2 DRS zones, the first 2, the only 2 DRS zones, are very close together. So if you don't get it through the first part, you can wait and you can make it through the second one. You can see he's close now. He's been 3/10. He'll close up. He'll use his ERS now. Jonathan goes defensive, but the outside line here is probably one of the best outside lines, one of the easiest ones to hold around. You can see there he goes, and Troy sails through up into P3, up into the podium positions, and will now head towards XD for P2 in this race. But of course, LB still leading, 3 second penalty as it stands. Troy with the penalty from LB, as long as he doesn't get any penalties, will finish P2. So all he's got to do really, when you think about it, all he's got to do is pass XD. Because of LB's penalty, he should go pass. So it's just a matter of getting LB. Oh, sorry, just a matter of getting XD. Because if he gets XD, that as long as he's got 3 seconds to LB and he's on a set of soft tires, so he's going to gain on him anyway. As long as he has that 3 seconds, he should theoretically be able to pass him. But you can see he's closing up onto the back of XD, but XD is also closing up onto the back of LB. The last thing we want to see, for Troy's sake, the last thing we want to see is XD close up to LB's. The last thing we want to see is XD close up onto LB's DRS, and then that means that Troy is now stuck in this DRS train. But you can see there, as the gap closes down, Troy should just be within luck here. He's close enough to he's close enough to XD. I realize it's not gap to leader anymore, but he's closing down the gap to XD, and he's close enough just about to the leader. He should be just about close enough to gain an advantage when the penalty is served for the leader. But Town, he's right on the back of SpongeBob here. I think SpongeBob has actually just passed him. Another one making his way back through the field is iHub, but we forgot to keep an eye on Paul Harrison on his fresh set of soft tyres as well. Look at these guys go side by side. They come up the hill. On the inside he goes, and H Taylor on his fresh soft. He's looking to come back through. Great recovery driver. He's back up into PA. Next driver, KRC. He's also on the set of soft, so it's going to be a struggle. This might, I hate to say it, but this might be the best that H Taylor can do in this race. It's been unfortunate for those top two drivers, iHub and H Taylor, just not quite at the racing one. H Taylor could have gone ahead and won this race, I reckon, but that one incident really costing him here. He's had to make an extra pit stop. He's lost time, and overall it's just ruined his race here. It's been unfortunate, but it's allowed for a lot of entertainment up the front here as Troy still closing on XD start closing on LB, so it's looking like we could see that DRS train that we didn't want to see for Troy's sake. But Troy within 3 seconds of the leader now, so he's at least going to finish P2 if his soft tyres don't drop off too much. But these tyres, of course, evening out lap after lap after lap, but the soft tyres still better. They're still probably, I want to say, around half a second a lap better than what the medium tyre is, so he's still got a lot to use to him. And when you look at ERS, they're basically equal. All of these top three have used so much ERS, and they're all basically equal. They don't have much to worry about ERS wise, because when they close up to one another, they're gonna have the exact same. So if they use all of theirs, the guy ahead is going to use all of theirs, and it's really just going to come down to DRS, or whether the guy ahead decides not to defend or not to use ERS. But when it's this late in the race, everybody is, no matter if you're on hard tires and they're on fresh softs and you're on 20 lap worn hards, everybody is going to choose to defend this late in the race, because you never know. A simple defense could allow you to hold on to that position long enough. If you're a good defender, you can hold on to that position. But you can see XC, he's falling off the back of LB, and Troy's now in DRS range. Exactly what Troy wanted now. LB pulling away from XD, and XD is struggling. You can see Troy using all the track limits. He's doing what he can. He's trying to use every inch of the track to his advantage in order to gain on XD and pass XD. Because 7/10 is the gap. You're gonna want it around about half a second to get a move into T1 with DRS, but of course you're gonna need the assist of ERS as well to make that happen. You can see, look at the close up he's got. Look at the amount more grip that he's got. XD isn't using the track either. XD is taking it easy. As long as Troy gets past XD and he stays within 3 seconds of LB without getting another penalty, without getting himself a penalty at all, he is looking to go from P12 to the win here. He's going to have DRS down straight, but of course it's not quite close enough. XD running a little bit lower on ERS. Troy's playing it smart. He's choosing not to use ERS first. Here he's going to wait till the second straight, and he's going to use all of his ERS. You can see there he lifts off to save for himself that little bit extra ERS, and then you watch down the second straight here. He'll give it his all, and he will push for that P2 position. You can see just how close he is. He'll gain a little bit. He goes for the good exit. DRS enabled. No ERS either at the moment. I think he just knows that he should quite easily get this move done, and the 3 seconds that LB have, he can still win this race. He's trying to play some sort of smart game here. If this was me, I probably would have already tried to go from the move right now. In the heat of the moment, I would have just tried to go from the move already. But I don't get how drivers take that corner so easily. I struggle so much through there. It's amazing, but I can't wait for future rounds where I'm actually quick, because this is not a good track for me. I can say that. I have like one good off lap, and it's from there it's nothing. But of course, Troy still on the back of XD. Half a second is the gap. He's struggling in the dirty air to close up compared to what he was before. But the soft tyres is a good advantage here. He's got a lot more ERS. Look at what he's done here. He's saving ERS and XD's using it at all. He's playing very, very smart here, Troy is, because if he saves ERS one more lap, he's still 3 seconds within LB. Saves it one more lap, he can then push to the finish with ERS, push past Troy, because LB's using all his ERS too. Look at that, he's lifting coasting, he's saving even more ERS. He's got no fuel problems. You can see nothing on the fuel indicator, no fuel problems at the moment. It's just that saving ERS that he is trying to do at the moment, because if he can save that ERS, by the time that last lap comes around, he will sail past. If I was him, I'd try to get it done in the penultimate lap so we don't have to worry too much if we don't get it on the last lap, because you don't get on the last lap, you kind of screw. But you can see he's really lifting. He's trying to save that ERS. You can see he's got over double the amount that XD has now, and it's really working out to his favour. But of course he's dropping on LB. He can't. There's only 2 more laps left in this race after this, and he can't afford to stay behind him too much longer, because he's going to drop too far behind LB, and LB's 3 seconds. It's not going to matter anymore. He needs to get past, and he needs to get past now. You can see he's got a lot of ERS. He's going to use it. Here we go. This is what we came here to see. XD, no ERS. Troy, he's got everything. He's using it all. He's going to activate DRS, and he's going to absolutely sail past now. And there is Troy up into P2, and with the gap that he has, that is as well very much P1. He's just got to keep it within 3 seconds of LB for the next 2 laps, and LB's just got another 3 seconds. That is got to be race over. That has got to be race over now. LB, another 3 seconds, and that is what? But at this point, with the 6 second, you might as well call it the race. As long as Troy keeps it clean, keeps it easy, that is race over and race done for LB. But XD still sitting close enough. Jonathan also has a 6 second though, so it should at least be a podium. There's still 1 more lap left in this race though, so I don't want to call it. Just say I don't want to give any commentators curse or anything like that. But with 1 lap left to go, there's not much LB can do. Troy still has that tyre advantage at this point, and he's got no penalty at all. He's not even pushing the track limits, you can see. But XD is trying to come back here, but I don't think he's going to make it. The gap just isn't close enough, and he doesn't quite have enough of the tyre advantage to really close up. This is just pure pace at this point. The tyres are basically even by now, and it is just pure pace. That's all it is now. It's all over the back of him. 6/10 is the gap, and into last DRS zone. That is it. He's gonna try a little lunge, but it doesn't work. And as long as they keep it clean through these last few corners, it should stay as put. There's not much happening elsewhere except for KRC and Taylor. But I imagine Taylor just got past him there. We'll go back up to the front now as they're coming towards the end of the lap. They come through the last sector now. He's taking it easy, trying not to penalise themselves any more than what they have already. Unfortunately for LB, he's gotten 6 seconds in the race. Through the last few corners, he'll come onto the straight. He'll use everything. It's been a great drive from LB. Great drive from everyone up the top here, but it's been a great drive from him to come across the line and beat P1 on the road for LB. But once Troy crossed the line, it's P1 for Troy. Great drive for Troy. P2 for XD. Jonathan, P4. SpongeBob goes up into P4 actually as Town comes across. Town goes up into P5. Jonathan drops all the way back to P6. But I've got to say, what a drive that was from Troy to go from P12 to P1. I've bloody amazing. He just used those medium tyres perfectly, and when he got into the soft tyres, he just drove away. That's got to be one of the best drives I have seen. It was unfortunate what happened to Taylor and IHAV, but you've got to hand that one to Troy. There's not much Taylor could have done, but Troy's just, he's taken full advantage of those lap 1 incidences, and he's found himself up into P1, and that is the win for Troy for round 2 of OBF1 Tier 1 at Portugal. AlphaTauri, after struggling in round 1, only getting a P5. That was a great run by Troy. 25 laps on hards. That's mad, dude. I was surprised. What? I was surprised when. I was surprised to see you come in so early, to see Jonathan come in so early onto the hard tyres. I thought it would have been quite an easy soft to medium strategy, but it doesn't look like it was very long in the hards, very well done in the hards, but it doesn't look like it was the right strategy in the end.
After lap 8, tires started on 1.6 Kazavai Goji. Going round and round.
Yeah. I did. It's amazing how much they saved the tyres up front. That was beautiful, but I said it before. I'll say it once again. What a drive it was from Troy to bring home P1, P2 for XD, and then P3 from LB. What a race that was. I was glad to be commentating it, but without any further ado, I thank you guys for coming around for round 2 of OBF1 Racing League at Portugal, and this was Tier 1, and I'll catch you guys next time for round 3 if I can catch what track that will actually be at quickly for you guys. I'll catch you guys for round 3 at Abu Dhabi, the Yas Marina circuit, and I'll catch you guys then.